I would have wanted to attend to burying Ezra. That's sad news that I didn't know.
Do you have ceremony? Do you have access to ceremony at level 7?
No.
So you can definitely do a burial. You can't in particular like consecrate it. But you all are not far from the Cryptogarden Forest. But it is entirely viable for you to go off to the nearest wilds and actually have a burial for Ezra.
It's like the most clericy thing that I wanted to do yet, but I'm going to do that.
So, for what it's worth, I think that's a pretty solid idea for the last few days. That can be what, in general, most of you all were attending to, and we can actually pick up with the with Griswalda approaching the group as you return from Crypto Garden a few days later. And at this point, if anybody hasn't already taken one, you all can take a long rest here.
I was about to ask if the downtime was a long rest or not.
Getting my wand of magic missiles back up to.
It would be a full after a few days. Even with us using your character at times.
Yeah, how did I do? Did I perform well?
I nearly killed the 3 players. What was that? Ezra, Seamus, and Justin. I feel like we downed the 3 players and had the 3 who were missing that day played by them, and it also got quite dicey. But it was definitely it was one of those like 4.5 hours of just straight battle.
And I didn't have Revivify at the time because I hadn't leveled up.
Yeah, it was fucking funny.
Have it now. Fine, Harsher, if you die again.
You still don't have diamonds, though, so that is something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I don't have 300 gold pieces either. I have to like deal with the loot list at some point. Did you guys do that?
I feel like it was somewhat taken care of. So yeah, once you all are coming back in, you would basically be returning from the northeast entrance, coming through the palisade there. Just to kind of set things again, this town is very much still destroyed. Coming from the northeast there, you see that the actual Tower of Thalavar, the High Tower of Thalavar, most of the northeast side of that building is completely destroyed, and there's actually scaffolding that goes up those 4 levels. Most of the actual buildings in the town do not have complete roofs. Many of them are still leveled to the actual foundations. A lot of the actual work being done right now is the masons coming in and rebuilding this town. So this is very much a town that is coming back to life. After I think it was about 50 years ago or something, that the Oculus of Thalavar, which was a planar beacon, actually exploded, and in the process, all of these different planar creatures started to wreak havoc across Leyland. So you all are returning to this place that is in reconstruction. It is very much the northern waypoint. When you are leaving Waterdeep, this is the first big settlement between Waterdeep and Neverwinter, and it's closer to Neverwinter than Waterdeep, but it's on the other side of the Mirror of Dead Men. And the Mirror of Dead Men is another area where there was once powerful wizards settled there, but the actual swamp itself continually is growing larger and larger and consuming more and more of the actual coast there, and that's part of why it currently cuts off the path between Waterdeep and Neverwinter. But as you all are coming into Leyland, you will eventually be approached by Griswalda, who kind of comes up to the group and welcomes you back into town. It's good to have you all back. I hope everyone is safe. Your friend is put to rest. And they kind of take a few moments just kind of solemnly looking around with the group. I hope it is not too much to ask, but you've already done so much for us to keep the wishes of Lord Neverember moving forward. And Sharwin thought it might be advisable, with such important things moving forward, to ask you for your assistance. We have a herdsman who has quite a few animals ready to go to Phandalin. We understand a friend of yours there, Barthen. He's looking to purchase them, and we need the funds for the restoration project. We were hoping perhaps we could give you a cut of the profits that the town would appreciate if you could give them safe travel. And along the way, maybe purchase some things that we need out of Phandalin. Wagon, some horses, holy water, little things. Do you all have any thoughts as this town speaker comes forward to you all to ask a favor of you?
He starts stroking his beard, thinking about the opposition.
Hell curious. Go forward. I don't know about the others, but I'll lend a hand. If anyone needs, I'll help.
Works up for it. Go see his aunt. Maybe have a few drinks. Sounds good.
Well, if you are interested, Pinchwit is forming her herd along the northern side of the city. It's sizable, and she's more or less ready to move on whenever you are prepared. As I understand, she's hesitant to take the roads. The goats are not terribly easy to care for, but she wants to go the more direct route, directly towards Phandalin. Through the wilds. And looks at you all kind of slant-eyed, like he's just kind of dropping his head to the side a little bit as he says that.
What was her name again?
Pinchwit Wigglehoof. Quite a friendly person for somebody who lives with goats. You'll probably be the first person she's talked to in probably close to a year now.
And are we doing this? Are we doing this for free, or do we get a cut of the goats, or is there any sort of compensation?
Oh no, that's what I mean. You would have a chance to profit off of it. Obviously, Leyland needs to take the majority of the profits. But if you are able to get them there, that's quite meaningful for us. We're relatively sure that Pinchwit is not going to be able to make it there on her own. As capable as she is, it's not terribly safe.
Goat herding it is then.
So, Grizzle... God damn it, why did I delete their fucking names? Griswalda? I feel like that's their name. Will take you all to the northern side of the town. As you kind of walk past like some of the palisades, one of the first things that you are going to see is there's not like a small herd of goats outside of town. Like, all of the field to the north of the town is currently filled with goats. And these are not normal goats. These are giant goats. They are massive. They probably stand about 8 feet tall at their backs, probably about 10 feet long, like head to tail. They probably weigh close to like a half ton, if not a ton, each. And eventually, Griswalda is able to find Pinchwit, who is a tiny little halfling, who stands about 3 feet tall. Very much in contrast to the about 1,000 or so goats that they are currently herding. And eventually, Pinchwit is going to run up to you all. Oh, hi. It's good to meet you all. And she's just gonna kind of like shuffle around and just like look at you all. She's not actually reaching out her hand to shake anybody's hands, but she's just like giving a good like stare down at you all, and you actually gather that she might be sniffing you as well.
Greetings, Pinchwit.
Greetings as well.
Y'all have a lot of experience herding goats? They're pretty easy to herd goats. You just have to be quick on your feet. Quick on your feet!
Definitely no experience. Why are they so big, Pinchwit?
They're giants. It makes everything's a little bit more valuable with them. They're quite profitable. We stand to do quite well for the town. But I raise giant goats. Normal goats are bigger than me, so why not have giant ones? Makes for extremely high tensile strength hair. It's one of the most valuable properties as well. And she's gonna slap one of them, like basically like on kind of like the it's almost like the like ankle, like the tibula, because she can't reach higher. And you just like see as the goat like flexes its leg as it kind of like kicks out a little bit. These things are incredibly strong, but as well they are like packed with muscle. They are big animals for both meat, and they have a huge amount of fur.
Pinchwit, do we walk, ride, run? How does it work?
We're gonna have to walk. The herd doesn't move too quick. It's gonna be some difficulty there, but we're just going to make our way as much as possible. Hopefully you can guide me better than perhaps we can move, but we just kind of need to make our way to Phandalin, and once we get to Barthens, we will be able to make the rest of the deal. Y'all, have you ever been to Phandalin? Do you all know how to... Are you good at going through the wilderness?
Yes, and yes, and yes.
Oh,
One of
excellent,
those are a
excellent.
yes from me, too.
Good. So whenever you're ready to go, we can surely start to head along the way. As much as possible, it would be good for us to be good for predators. It'd be good for us to avoid predators. The goats can only move so fast, and we have to be careful.
Are we going into territory where there's a huge population of predators?
Foothills of the mountains are definitely dangerous. There's, there there were some heroes in the area who definitely did a lot to help some of these situations. But we definitely, well, you got to be careful. It takes a lot to keep them safe.
What happened to those heroes, Kinshwit?
Uh, uh, I don't know too much. I just heard that there's been some who recently took out a dragon in this area. Very good to have dragons. Not be around when you're moving giant goats. They're pretty good meals for a dragon.
I highly bet that they are quite delicious for dragons.
Then there was Gore-Tusk, right? Gore-Tusk got taken out too, I think.
I don't really know what that is, but praise be to adventurers.
Yes, indeed. All right. Then, I guess if everyone's ready, unless we need something from this town, we should probably get us going as fast as possible before, if it gets late. Actually, what is the time of it right now? Is it like noonish or something?
I'd say for what it's worth, yeah, you guys are walking in early in the day. Not like bright and early like at sunrise, but you're still early enough in the day.
All right. Well, if everyone is equipped, prepared, I guess we should try to herd these goats. Right?
Sounds good. Kinshwit, how many days do you think it's going to take?
She pulls out a little book in her hand, and she starts doing like incredibly complicated math and like fills up an entire page, and then looks up at you. 7 or 8 days? Just under a week. We'll be fine.
All right. So goats walk slow. Got it.
Definitely not fast, no. The biggest problem is keeping them all together. So when you're ready to go, just let me know.
While all of this has been going on, Elke has been like staring at his hands, so slowly having a finger go up, down on, up again. Kind of, that's a lot of go.
So once you all are ready to go, you very quickly realize why this tiny creature is a goat herd, as she starts to run circles around this like solid half-mile like cube of goats, and she is just sun haul ass, just in big like arcs, keeping the goats like towards the general area, and then she like arcs around the back and comes back around the other side and brings them back in like from the other side, and it's just this slow process of slowly just going around the goats, and you kind of just like slowly sweep in big crescents, and it moves most of the goats forward to that northeast, and as you come back down to like the south of them, it moves some of them northeast, and then you sweep back up to the north and you move some of them like north or east northeast, and it's just that slow process of the goats don't really move much, but it's that little bit of like the closer that you get to them, you kind of herd them in that direction, and it's just a long, slow process of just kind of running around the goats and more or less keeping track of them along those grounds. So let me have somebody roll. Just got animal handling from you all.
Helke does.
Do an animal handling for me, Helka.
Eee.
Well done. So On the third day of your travel, you're kind of watching over the goats as they start to freak out, and you feel like, there's not too much to worry about. We're just moving here. Obviously, they're just kind of getting a little fed up with this little bit of, like, you're starting to get into the hills of this area, and they just seem to be acting weird. You don't quite understand exactly what it is. Before not too long passes by, and you start to spot that there are two creatures flying high above head. It appears that there are wyverns above, and eventually Pinchwit kind of runs by and just kind of screams out, wyverns! Wyvern! We gotta keep them together! Keep moving! We have to protect them! Keep them whole!
And Bruno does the instruction. He tries to herd the goats closer to each other.
Burke readies his crossbow.
So let me have everybody do. Let me have you all do an animal handling here.
Burke grew up on a farm.
I'm starting to wonder if Josh's silence has turned into him passing out. I think it is like 1 a.m. for him.
Oh no, so I didn't know I was part of the group yet, you see, apologies.
Nope, my bad. That's what I was trying to get at, is I was trying to bring you in on the downtime there. I didn't want to waste any time getting you into this group, because this is one of the things where Leyline happens over months.
Okay, fair enough then, sorry, yeah, so animal handling is it?
Do you have any thoughts prior to that then? Like when you are being asked by Griswalda or by Pinchwit for help? Is there anything that you are interested in asking as like a retro?
No, I'm fine with how it is. Obviously, I don't know the background things too well as well, and the party's focus, so I'm happy with the way it is, yeah. So I'll just roll animal handling and play it from here.
All right, solid. Yep, my bad. Definitely what I was going for was just to jump you in.
That's my mistake, mate. I should have just asked if anything.
All right, so you all find as you keep the goats together and help Pinchwit, you are able to keep them a large, solid mass. The wyverns fly overhead, but they don't seem to actually move in to take anything. And most of that day progresses by. They don't seem to come back, where after a time they seem to fly off. Pretty solid idea that at some point this just wasn't something that was worth going for, and they moved along. Let me get everybody to do let's go for just a solid D20. Just roll a D20. Tiff, let me have you roll a animal handling.
All right, 1 sec. A whopping 11.
On your watch on the final day, you're keeping watch over the goats. Oh, my bad. You could also have done an insight there. What's your roll? What's your difference on your insight? What's the plus difference?
It's +3 on insight.
+3? Word. So on the about final day, as you all are outside of Phandalin, kind of approaching what would be like the 8th day when you would arrive, there seems to be another issue in the actual goat herd. The herd seems to be kind of acting up. You again kind of just pass it off as this seems to be some sort of weird thing that they are doing. Nothing in particular kind of gets your attention where you like jump at having a solution here. Before there is kind of a big scream and like the bleeding of a goat. I feel like goats bleat. And you hear as a goat is like snatched up. This is effectively, my bad, this is kind of like on your watch that you hear this goat is snatched. And the goats seem to be under attack right now. Everybody else is sleeping, so you can start to wake everybody. You can try to go and investigate the situation at present. What do you think Tiff would do?
Not too sure. Tough one. So where is everyone? Sorry. In
More or
relation
less,
to-
you all are kind of just sitting around like an actual camp, and the goats are just kind of like wandered. The goats are just kind of wandering around that general area.
All right, I think I'll go and try and round them up and bring them back in again. Bring them back in close to us into one manageable group.
So you're just like going after the goats right now?
Yeah, but I'll shout first and wake at least one person up. I think. So who would be the closest to me out of the party to sort of notify first? Because I want at least one.
Roll a d6.
Okay, 1 sec.
Helka the barbarian is the closest to you.
All right, I should give him a kick with my foot and say, "Hey, the bloody what they call them? Goats. The goats go in. Goats are going. I'm gonna grab them. You stay here in case you need to wake the others up. I'm gonna get the goats."
Helke will be struggling. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Just in case someone comes and like stabs me or something. We don't want to get stabbed.
Let me get a perception from you, Tiff. So as you start to run to the area where you have heard this goat bleed out, you start to notice that, like, coming from the brush, there are pretty massive creatures that seem to be a good bit taller than the actual goats themselves. Do a nature check or history.
I've not got a bad nature stat, so I'll go with that.
You're pretty sure that, like, what you can see around this brush, that these are ogres that are moving in on the goats right now. And you see... right now you see two.
All right, okay, and they've already started to engage the goats, have they? Yeah.
Yep, you've already heard at least one goat get grabbed up.
Okay, about how many feet am I away from the rest of the party at this point?
You'd be about 30 feet. It's kind of like still that same like moment of you've just woken up Helka, and you've moved on to try to get closer to where the goat was yelled off.
Okay, cool. So it's close enough to shout for it then. So I'll shout to the party. Ogres in the trees. Shit! Get everyone up. Ogres this way, please. Ogres. And hopefully shouting will wake people up. Although I know Helka's already awake, so hopefully he'll hear that as well and be able to kick people.
Yeah, it's Helke. Here's that. Basically. Stop Burke and Bruno awake.
So let me have perceptions from Bruno and Burke. Just like a DC 6. All right, solid. Yep, the two of you are going to awake to the same situation. So we are going to have you all place yourselves on this little map. You can pick one of the corners to start yourselves off at. We'll kind of like play everything off from there. But effectively, you all are roughly within about like 40 or so feet of each other. And obviously, Tiff should be a little bit closer to Helka than everybody else. So it looks like southwest there.
So I guess I'd be a bit closer to the brush then, if I'm the one who's there.
So we're all like 40 feet of each other.
Yeah, I would say like if we do Burke and Bruno in like that southwest corner, have Helka around the two of you, and then if Tiff, you will just place yourself about 30 feet away from Helka, that would be perfect.
Mar, what were the values on our tokens again?
Oh, you don't have to worry about those. For what it's worth, D&D Beyond solves everything, so you can kind of use them as you would care to. In general, when I asked for people to do that, green was health, blue was AC, and red kind of oscillated between what was more needed or passive perception. But I keep all of those stats in like an Excel file that I have open. It's too
Cool.
difficult to keep like characters updated. It's not difficult, but it's like a frustrating extra work. All right, so Bruno, if you will, just place yourself closer to like Burke and Helka, as you guys are basically like that as your camp kind of situation.
Like right here.
Yep, that works out perfect.
Are you gonna put like 1,000 goats on this map now?
I am not going to populate it with goats
That would be
because
hilarious,
there's
but
a
that would probably
shitload
be
of
too
goat.
much.
Yeah, it's a cool map though.
I am going to populate it with some ogres, though.
Oh, they're big.
So these are like giant ogres.
Does anyone?
Ogres are huge creatures. They're not really anything different than an ogre.
I wonder if they work for King Groll.
So, with that in mind, you all see the enemies before you. They are currently going after goats. What would you like to do? Let's say, Tiff, that you see the one closest to you is the one that most recently grabbed a goat. I wonder if I have a symbol for a grabbed goat.
What's the symbol for grab goat?
Bam! I feel like I use
I
that
got
as
it.
reckless on barbarians. I feel like that's a solid one. That one is currently holding a goat, and the goat is probably like 80% of its size.
Well, I want to shout out an orc. That's King Groll's goat.
There doesn't seem to be any immediate response.
Well, my orc's not great, but okay.
So, depending on what you all would like to do here, if you can click your tokens, roll yourselves for initiative. We're about to see what is about to go down here.
I'm just rolling those bad low rolls.
Must have inherited my luck because normally I'm the one who's trash at that.
Apparently so.
You fucking 20s.
2 crits, you mean?
Can't crit on a skill check.
Well, this is a crit initiative, apparently. Which is funny.
The old school group is doing okay on initiative.
The OGs.
I find LK is fun. He has advantage on initiative.
The barbarians are super cool.
Barbarians always have advantage on initiative. Is that a thing?
It's super low level when they get it, so I would say pretty much always, yeah.
Cool. And are we sure that like 5 goats isn't like a reasonable price to pay? Like an ogre tax?
Depends what a goat's worth in this current economy.
Well, there's 1,000 of them, so it's not going to hurt us that bad to deliver
Well, they-
995.
Yeah, but they keep eating more.
I knew there would be holes in saying 1,000.
Well, it's just the math, you know. There's going to be loss, right? There's always loss.
So Helka, what would you like to do as you spot the first of these ogres grabbing a goat?
I would like to bonus action rage.
Excellent. Oh, I should also state, with the time passage, it is, what is it? Fuck, it's the 30th. I feel like that is a new moon. So this is among the darkest of the nights that you guys would have here as well.
Okay, so we have no real light on.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to understand it here as well.
Well then, Elk gonna move up a bit. And then he's gonna throw one of his hand axes at the ogre carrying the goat.
Excellent. Make a throw disadvantaged.
That's just the same attack like regular. It's just disadvantage.
Yeah. You sink it solid into it. Roll the damage. As you get closer to the ogre, can you describe to me a feature of the ogre that seems special or unique to you?
If I can see the markings, that might be it.
Yeah, do it. Pretend that you can.
Yeah, I see the markings. So they're like marked with blue paint on their tribal tattoos.
Excellent. And then it's going to go to Burke, unless you had anything else that you wanted to do.
That's if I can prepare, like just get up my other hand axe, my hand, so it's ready. I'll wait for.
That's perfectly fine, yeah.
I do that, and then I end my turn.
All right, I guess I'm going to move up. I'm going to fire my... Well... And I'm going to... use Sacred Flame on the one that's been hand-axed.
Excellent. Roll that beautiful beam footage. Oh, I think he's going to dodge that regardless. Yep, 17. He'll beat your DC and take no damage.
Okay, I think that's what I got.
So also for this, I think Bruno and Burke, remember that you two would not be in armor right now. So your AC will be much lower than you are probably used to.
All right, I guess. So once it's my turn, I guess I have to don my armor as an action.
What kind of armor do you wear? Feel like you're in heavy armor? That takes 10 minutes.
Yeah, chainmail.
That is 100 turns of combat.
Shit.
Reckon you could get that in?
Or your armor class could be 10, like mine.
Yeah.
Well, my armor class is 12. It without the chainmail armor.
Nice.
Sleeping is the only reason that dexterity builds are the way to go. You never have to worry about it if you wear light armor. So let's see. We're gonna go to some ogres here.
But at least I could at least pick up my shield.
That will take an action to do, but you can certainly do that. Like, it takes an action to don your shield.
All right, good. And it like how long does that? It probably just takes a minute, like not even a minute, right?
What do you mean? Like an
just picking it
action?
up.
No,
No, I
like
mean
an
it.
action. It's an action in your action economy to do that. It takes essentially 6 seconds to like strap it to your arm.
All right, good. I just want to know the time.
So he's going to look over as the hand axe kind of sinks into the side of its gut, and it's gonna seemingly like get kind of like furious as it drops the goat, and it is going to run towards Helka. And as it gets there, it is going to make a great club swipe at Burke, and 19 should hit you without armor. It is going to do 9 bludgeoning damage.
Got it.
Sorry, that hit me too as Hulk, or was it
No,
just...
no. It just ran towards you, and it just kind of barreled past you.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna just hear like a big ol' yell as one just kind of starts charging up, and like the ground is actively shaking as it's running towards you. Shouldn't have done that yet. There's gonna be one more. As it runs away, it's going to pick up the goat that the other one dropped and continue to run off to the north. And it will go to Tiffany.
Right, okay. So who are the two guys with ridiculously low DC? What DC?
Burke?
Yeah, the two that are closest to you right now are the ones that are not wearing armor. Well, actually, technically speaking, all 3 of them are not wearing armor. But you are used to seeing Burke to the north of you and Bruno to the southwest of you. They are the 2 who wear heavy armor.
I'm just going to twin haste the 2 melee guys.
Like the 2 who are currently in melee?
Yeah, go for those 2.
Gotcha. Burke and Helka, are you both aware of what haste does for you?
No, could you stick it in the chat so I can read it?
Yeah, can you share the VTT?
Yep, sure. Just 1 second.
You'll basically have double movement and you have another action. It's not quite like having another attack action where you would get, well, Burke, you don't actually get 2 attacks, but where like Helka would get 2 attacks, but it is a separate attack.
Plus, it gives some AC.
Oh yeah, what is it? 2 AC? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, 2 AC. But if I lose concentration, you end up losing a turn though. So I have to now move away a bit.
So with that in mind, I think you are good to go that it would go to Bruno. Oh wait, my bad. Never mind. That was a fuck up. I have 2 more ogres. Picking up a goat and running, and then it will go to Bruno.
All right. Well, first, I am picking up my shield, so that'll be my action to don my shield. And afterwards, I'm gonna move. It only gets me to here.
I think that's next to it, though. What are you looking for?
Not really just trying to go for something, but I'm just running here so I could aid my team. And I think is bless a bonus action?
I think you're going to take an action there, but you can use your free action to do the shield, and you can cast Bless.
Okay. So I get to here, and I cast bless.
Who are you blessing?
I'm blessing myself, Helk, and Burke. I think that'll be the end of my turn, I think. I don't think I have anything.
Let's see. The next ogre is going to run forward, and it is going to huck a javelin at Burke at disadvantage. And it's going to go wide as it kind of like plinks off of the flesh of one of the other ogres. And it will go to Helke.
If I understand haste right, I can a regular attack and bonus attack, and then another regular attack.
Yeah, I think that sounds right. I think like you'll have 4 possible attacks right now.
It for probably like only 3 because attack with one hand axe, bonus action attack with the other hand, attack
Well,
again.
when you take a normal attack action, you're normally going to get 2 attacks, though.
Oh right, I forgot.
That's
about
why
that.
haste says particularly that, like, with that extra attack, it's just 1 extra weapon attack. So that's why you're at 4. Because you've got your 2 normal from taking the attack action, and then you can use your bonus action if you would like, and then you can use the haste action if you would like.
Okay, I actually forgot the head. Well, then I'm gonna attack the ogre directly south of me. Hand axes.
It's all blue tribal. Both are going to sink in. Yeah, again, once you roll those, if they're not showing up with damage, please roll damage. Like, just click it right away. So doing... Oh, shit, yours is not also adding the rage in there. So it's 2 extra damage from last turn, 13 more for 15, so 23, 25 total. He's looking severely bloodied.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna use my haste action attack twice again.
Well, the haste action will give you 1 extra attack, so you can do your +1 hand axe attack. Doing another 13, that's going to kill it. He's going to fall dead on that attack as you just chop right into him. So technically, you have other ogres that are right next to you, and you have a bonus action still.
Then a bonus action on the one directly west of me.
Tell me something about him that seems unique.
I feel like I am missing something very obvious. Yeah, no, it's.
Yeah, is he like missing an eye? Does he have like a huge scar like across his chest? Tell me anything unique about him.
I mean, they have the paint going over their eyes. That's significant.
Don't look at the picture. Tell me what you see the ogre in front of you looks like.
Yeah, like
Oh,
imagine.
okay.
Improv.
I got that wrong. I thought you meant the picture. Okay, then let's say he has like a scars on both of his arms, like he's been attacked by an animal.
Yeah, go for it. Make that final attack. This one will be just with the normal hand axe. Do you have 2-weapon fighting? Or not 2-weapon fighting? Damn, what's the fucking feat? No, you just have charger. So yeah, that one's going to do 2 + 2 for a total of 4 damage.
Okay, well I feel happy with this turn, anyways.
And then it's going to go to Burke.
All right, so I'm gonna disengage with my haste action. Back up a little bit. And then I guess I have an action and a bonus action left. I'm gonna cast Guiding Bolt on the one with the scars on his arms.
Solid hit.
And with my bonus action, I'm gonna cast Spiritual Weapon. Wait, let me make sure I'm doing that right.
If you don't disengage, you can do that. But then you are at disadvantage when you cast the spell. Haste is one of the few spells in the game that allows you to use 2 spell slots when you are casting actual spells. But right now, casting a Guiding Bolt, you cannot cast another spell that uses a spell slot.
Copy that. Okay, I'm gonna stand pat. Thanks for that haste. That was necessary with my
Yeah, no
10
problem, mate.
armor class.
That's what it's all about.
I think I'm gonna move just a little bit more because I have some more movement, and that's my turn. Thanks.
Yeah, you got a shitload of movement right now. I'm gonna reach out, and 19 should hit Helka. It will do. What is that? 12, 6 bludgeoning damage to you, Helka. And it will go to Tiff.
Okay. It seems like a dangerous location for a fireball, so I'm just going to go ahead with a standard firebolt on the. Are either of those two injured? Sorry, I'm losing track here.
Right now, Scarred Arms, the one with advantage on it, is injured.
Okay, I'm going to go for just a standard firebolt on him then.
.22 will hit, dealing 13 fire.
Yep, that's right. That ends my turn.
And that will leave him bloodied. Helka, you just got that magic number. I think a 12 is going to miss you.
Yeah, it is.
And it's going to go to Bruno.
Alrighty then. Since
What's
these
that? Sorry.
what?
Sorry, it's my mistake. My internet was glitching out. Carry on.
Okay. Well, since these guys are focusing on that ogre, I'll get right behind this guy. I don't think you have flanking as part of
We
this
don't
game.
use flanking.
Yeah, you don't use flanking, but I'll still go over here anyway. And
Yeah, the problem with flanking is there's particular classes that have abilities that if you give flanking to everybody, it negates the entire reason to play those classes, in my opinion.
Right. And I will attack this specific ogre near me with my longsword.
Solid hit.
All right.
Dealing
Is he
10.
just? Yeah, it's one-handed.
Tell me something in particular that you see about that ogre that makes it unique.
Well, surprisingly, he's not bald like the other ones. He has a little tiny bit of hair on him that makes him a little bit unique.
Do you see, are you looking at his ass crack right now, that he's got like a hairy ass?
No, he has a hairy back. So he must have been a little bit less trimmed, I guess. But I will also attack again with my extra attack.
Solid hit.
Alrighty. And for a bonus action, I guess I'll try to knock him prone with the Shield Master Shove. So I wonder what's that gonna be? Check or something?
I feel like that is a contested strength.
So my strength against his...
It's contested strength checks.
Alrighty, so he's now knocked prone, I believe.
Yeah, I guess so. That seems a little shady to me that a dwarf can knock a large creature prone, but sure. He seems to have fallen over.
Nice. And I believe that is it for my go.
That magic number. Another javelin throw it at Helka.
Keep him coming.
Doing 11 piercing, so 5 piercing damage to you. And it will be on you.
Yeah, Helka is gonna continue attacking Scar the ogre with the scarred arm. Crap, that
Solid hit, roll the damage. I think also that you should end up with 3 attacks with the magical hand axe, and that normal hand axe would only be with the bonus action.
Oh, okay. So it'd be like 3 hand axe plus.
Yeah, so like right now that would be like unhasted if you attacked into him. But let's see, you would do 8 and then 4, so 12, so 23, 25. That's the kill right there. So you have one more attack with your normal axe at the prone one, so you have advantage against it.
Do I hit carry back?
Well,
Deal
I don't
another
mind hairy
11
backs.
to him. And then it's going to go to Burke.
Wait. Did I do 11? If it was with my regular hand axe? Doesn't do.
Oh no, that's what I mean. Like that second attack that you rolled, that should have been your bonus. So that would have been an extra +1, so it should have done 12 really.
Oh, okay. I'm getting it.
Because that's one of the things, like it's designed around players who basically attack with a single arm. The 2-weapon fighting is the only one that makes you use that offhanded weapon. And that's kind of like the weird thing about the only reason you really need to have 2 magical hand axes is purely going for that second arm also having a magical attack. But you're going to predominantly be attacking with that main hand axe.
Oh, okay. Well, now I get it. Hopefully, I think I get it.
Okay, I'm gonna step up. So I'm in within 60 feet of the far one. I'm gonna use one action to cast Toll the Dead.
I think he's gonna beat it. He's got a
Really?
15. I think that still beats your DC. 14? Yeah. No damage.
I think it's a Wisdom saving throw. Yeah. So okay. Well, he beats it, but I can hit them both now that I'm 5th level. So the damage one would take 12 points, or take
no,
1
no.
die 12. The other one.
You can't toll 2 creatures, but you can toll the damaged creature if you prefer to, but it's still 1 target. It just deals double damage now. At 5th level, it's 2d8 or 2d12.
Okay. All right. So that was one action. I think I'm gonna
Yes,
do it
so
again.
Word.
So what's the deal for me doing a spiritual weapon? If I cast my bonus action spell, I can only cast one other spell. Is that right?
Well, normally, if you cast a spell, like your bonus actions are all spell slots. Normally, that means once you cast a bonus action spell, you can only use cantrips. So right now, you can cast your spiritual weapon and double toll the dead. That is perfectly fine within the haste. But like haste is one of the unique situations where you could actually cast your spiritual weapon and then cast an actual spell like Guiding Bolt, purely because haste gives you that extra action. Oh wait, no, haste specifically says you can't cast a spell with it, so I'm wrong. It really is just action surge that allows you to do that.
Yeah, I've confused
My
those
bad.
with haste. Sorry, guys.
I'm psyching shit out because I'm confusing haste with action surge.
Okay, so I cast one spell. I'm going to cast spiritual weapon as my bonus action, and then I can go back and fire a crossbow bolt for my action. That's how I'm going to do that. Is that all right?
Yeah, so toll, spiritual weapon, and then crossbow bolt. That sounds right on. So it will have advantage against the prone one. That is a hit, dealing 7 more. That's going to leave it bloodied.
Great. Now I'm going to fire a crossbow bolt at it.
Solid hit. Oh, wait, no. Fire the crossbow bolt at the other one. You're at disadvantage shooting on something that's prone on ground.
Okay, I'll take that. Thank you. I didn't realize that, but now I'll know.
Yeah, prone's got that weird function. When you're like trying to hit it, you have advantage when you're next to it, disadvantage if you're not.
That actually makes total sense.
Also, one of the reasons why I don't think a prone large creature really makes a whole lot of sense, because it's still fucking massive. So yeah, that looks solid. You place a
That's my turn.
bolt into the one behind. It is going to run after Burke.
Great. It runs 60 feet.
It can run 80 feet. The problem is it actually has to use the run action.
Copy that.
And it's going to. Would you like to take an opportunity as it runs barrels kind of right over you, Bruno?
Oh yeah, I would definitely.
Take that opportunity attack, and then it is on Tiff.
Okay, so my options are pretty limited here whilst maintaining concentration, but I'm fine with that. So I'm going to go for the ogre that's closest to me, which is a standard firebolt. Can't
That
see what
was a
that is. The action
solid hit as you run by, and the firebolt will do another 12. Yeah.
Nice one, cheers. Don't know what's going on, but there's a massive delay between rolls and it appearing in my chat, so I still haven't even seen it in my chat yet, so cheers. So I'm not being rude.
Oh, yeah, that's weird. That's your chat, because they're showing up here, I feel like, instantly. So roll 20 might be severely lagged for you.
They're rolling in America just fine. Crazy.
It's us British people, innit? We got our old style ye olde internet.
Oh, fuck, that was the
It's late
wrong
at night,
ogre.
Yeah. You did 12 damage.
I'll take it. It's better than
No,
no damage.
no, that was just, that was the ogre that was prone that got up, so when it got up, it would have actually gotten killed there. Basically, it would have run away from Bruno, got slashed down, and it would have been severely bloodied when Tiff would have like burnt it to the ground. So the other one is still looking pretty healthy, but it is on Bruno.
Alrighty.
Oh, and I should have made Burke tell me something unique about the remaining ogre.
Oh, the last one, his loincloth fell off.
Just hanging dong.
That's not really something that we want to see on a token.
Can't tell if he's using a club or if he's using a club. What would you like to do here, Bruno? Are you going to charge at the ogre without a loincloth?
He'll wince at the giant slong first, but he will still attack it.
War fight is not the height that you want to be at right now.
True, but now his slong is out, so I'm attacking the slong. So a solid hit, I assume? Like, if it's in front of me?
Yeah, I said the first attack hits, does 8 damage.
Alright, and for the second attack, for extra attack,
Will also hit for another 14.
nice. Let's see here. You know what? I'm gonna do the same thing I did in my last bonus action. I'm gonna try to prone this guy with my shield master shove.
Just roll a strength check. Big ol' fail.
Okay. Yeah. I had a feeling it was not gonna do the second time, but hey. Alright, and that should be the end of my turn there.
He is going to swing his club into 17 should hit.
Yep.
And he'll do 16 bludgeoning to you. And then let me just get... yeah, you guys can describe to me how the four of you tear him to pieces as the final ogre dies in this round of combat.
2 crossbow bolts and a spiritual weapon slash of fire.
Do you have crossbow fighter? Or the crossbow feat? I don't think you can fire a crossbow twice in a turn right now.
Oh, even with my extra action?
Particularly crossbows take an action basically to reload, so it's kind of assumed you are free action fighting with those. So you really are very much limited to like the crossbow, the cantrip, and the spiritual weapon right now.
Copy that. Well, 1 crossbow bolt, 1 spiritual weapon, and 1 sacred flame. For me, doesn't quite get the job done though.
Helke would have just full sprinted at him and started hacking at him with his axes.
I'm sure he does not look healthy after that one. And Tiff, what's your final blow?
Firebolt for me, definitely.
Solid
Just tear him up.
firebolt. And
He's just
then
gonna go, burn, burn, and then just
for
fire
a
it straight
solid
at him.
6 seconds, Burke and Helke are just going to sit there and do nothing as haste drops.
Oof.
The downside of haste.
So how many goats did we lose? 2?
I mean, you guys lost 2 over here, but the fact that you lost 2 for the 6 ogres, that's what matters. It's not going to be simply 2.
I'm feeling like I don't want to disappoint Pinchwit, so that's good news.
We'll just say they died of old age.
Or they died at dinner, maybe?
They
They
were
died to a
invited to dinner.
disease.
Oh, that sucks ass. 141 goats ran away during that.
So 14% of our goats plus 2 got eaten.
Well,
That's
no,
quite a
like
lot.
the 2 is the reason that I rolled a D100. So if you guys had let 6 ogres take away 6 goats, I would have rolled 6 D100.
Oh, gotcha. Well, what does Pinchwit want? Does she want us to like go find those goats?
Sadly, that's kind of the cost of moving. We can't risk the rest. We need to just suck it up, lose a little bit of profit, and move along.
What about if we get hungry? What's the cost of, fresh meat?
Ogre's free. There's an all-you-can-eat buffet of ogre.
I like this guy.
Sorry, boss.
Ogre can be quite delicious.
I wouldn't know. Never tried it before.
It's
Me
much better
either.
cooked than it is raw.
Hopefully it's cooked well enough.
I don't eat humanoids. What are you guys doing? Crazy.
I've been
Oh,
in
flame
Wandering
grilled is
Dwarf,
fine.
so I've eaten creatures that, well, I had to eat.
Couldn't agree more. Sometimes you eat what you have to survive, right? This guy knows.
As he shakes his head, nodding for
I
him.
feel like that's a way of saying he's eating prairie oyster right now.
Rocky Mountain oysters.
So yeah, you all are outside of Phandalin. If you would like, you can basically sleep in late that morning to take a long rest. If you all want to continue forward without sleeping in, you can certainly do that as well. How early would you like to wake up? Does that sound good for everybody? So you're going to skip taking a long rest, though? That's kind of what we're getting at there. Gotcha. So yeah, you'll just take a level of exhaustion, and otherwise you can take a short rest. You can benefit from a short rest here. What would you do while everybody is continuing to rest? Gotcha. Do animal handling for me. You feel like you do a fantastic job keeping track of the sheep and making sure nothing else happens. And is Tiff sleeping in as well? So yeah, I think it would be pretty legit if you all arrive in Phandalin, approaching towards high sun, probably about 10:30, 11 in the morning kind of thing. Probably like a solid like 10, 15 degrees off from high sun. But otherwise, you are approaching Phandalin from the southeastern entrance. In particular, most of you all will have some sort of familiarity with the town of Phandalin, but as you enter, this is a small group of houses, a lot of old flagstones built on a large hill and then a slightly smaller but higher like promontory. There's about 30 or 40 buildings that are actually intact and like roofed, as well as probably about 15 or so that are in nearly complete ruins, but you can see their foundations, and probably about as many that are well ruined, but still stand almost like they are houses. You can tell the difference between a lot of the old constructions by the fact that there is old flagstone, and then the new construction where there is pretty fresh cut lumber that has actually been built up from the stone itself, and into the roofs. It's pretty easy to tell that among the oldest of the buildings that are intact here, they're probably within a few years of the actual reclamation of Phandalin itself. But coming into town, Burke would know how to get to Barthen's provisions, as well as Pinchwit would know the way to Barthen's. Basically saying that, yeah, shit, you're not going to come in that southwest. I said there's way too many goats. You're about to fuck up Darren Endermath's house and go around Phandalin, around the northwest, and try to make your way in from the northern, the little bit more traditional route. Let me have you all make a animal handling check as you go around the Endermath orchard. Solid. Another success. Great job. So you all do a pretty good job as you kind of come in from the southwest and you go around like the hillock and towards the actual river itself, and keep a wide berth around Endermath Orchard. And you do a pretty good job getting the goats into Phandalin, and basically end up with this herd kind of filling that whole massive space around the back of Barthen's provisions. But Pinchwit is going to go in and start discussing with Barthen's. At some point, she'll kind of come up to you all in the conversation, like leading up to this morning. We need to get paid for the goats. Gotta get paid. We're gonna have to get some wagons. Maybe a wagon, 2 wagons, probably 1 or 2 wagons. It depends. Couple of horses. We need horses. Need 2 horses per wagon. Definitely need to get some horses. Don't forget the holy water. We should be able to get holy water from the shrine. And then we have some more things that I'll have to negotiate with Barthen's. Do you want to? Can you go get some of those sorted? Do you need any help? Do you need me? I'm gonna have to go talk and deal with Barthen's and finalize the deal. So, arriving into town, having the task of you all need to procure at least a wagon and 2 horses, 10 vials of holy water, and some other provisions from Barthen's provisions. What do you all want to do as you take the goats into Barthen's provisions? Yeah, if you head in with Pinchwit, most certainly you can find Barthen. At first, he is in the front, in the actual like sales area. But as the actual sound of the goats start to gather up, it's not long before he actually walks out of the back and starts to oversee the goats being brought into this main area here. But you can definitely spot him after a while. He is a hunched over, but otherwise rather like normal, like 5 or so foot tall, older human male. And he just kind of moseys up to you all with his hand on a cane and, "Oh, it's good to see you again there, Burke." And he'll reach out to shake your hand. "I've got somebody down in Waterdeep who's looking for the fur, and I think the meat'll get well used in the City of Splendor." This is a big help for Daggalt. This is kind of like looks over to Pinchwit. This is going to go a long way for the reconstruction of Leyland. And kind of winks to you. I'll make a sizable profit myself. Hey, we're doing quite well. It's good to be out from under the wings of a dragon, you. I really appreciate that. And looking up to the sky and seeing blue, but like actual blue, not a dragon's blue. It's really nice. Well, Gariel should be able to supply the holy water for you. I think I'm going to end up having a lot of the actual odds and ends that they need down there. They don't have wagons or horses for sale right now. I believe Linienne might have a few from the coster that she may be able to part with. And, there's a good chance you might have to procure a wagon from Halia. We should be having some of the guards are going to be heading off. I believe Sildar has gotten a few extra guards prepared. I think we should have that all handled. Yeah, no. I do believe you'll find him at the orchard. I don't think he's been off for some time now. Yeah, when you get the wagon set, just bring it back here, and we'll probably have a large store set up. Can we set it up in yeah. Okay, yeah. We'll set it up in this back area here. And basically, like, Pinchwit will effectively prepare two of the same colors, kind of fails. But to fill, like, the back room of Barthen's Provisions, kind of the, like, store area, where you can kind of, it's almost like an open garage. Prepare to, like, set up all of the stores in there, so when you guys set up a wagon, that you can bring it in there. And yeah, so you all have the 3 locations that you will have to go to, and potentially finish off by acquiring a wagon from Halia. Halia Thornton, she runs the Phandalin Miners Exchange. I think you all had pretty minimal experience with her trading some gems. She was probably the most, like, upfront of the folk that you ever dealt with, where when she was buying the gems from you, she made it pretty clear, like, it's going to cost you to appraise them, and then it's going to cost you to sell them. But she was pretty upfront about the fact that she was making sure to profit off of you. So you have a pretty short walk across town. Let me get perceptions from all of you. There we go. That's just a second try. So Bruno, you notice this town seems quite a bit more active than you've heard some of your dwarven relations speaking about. Other than that, from what you understand, the heroes having recently saved this town kind of makes sense that without a dragon overhead, people would be a little bit more active. Burke, you notice that there seems to be a lot of extra people in town. And you do start to notice that around a good portion of town, there seems to be people who are actually coming out of some of the newer people who are coming out of ruins as if they have newly kind of established themselves in some of the ruined homes. But other than that, you all can make your way to the Phandalin Miners Exchange and head on in. Are you thinking you're saying that outside, or is that something you're saying once you arrive inside? Gotcha. So arriving inside of the Phandalin Miners Exchange, you all will see a woman about mid 40s ish, long dark hair. She's dressed in pretty nice clothing for what it's worth. Sitting back behind the actual front counter, bunch of scales and things set out upon it. And she's kind of sitting in a back room that's pretty well covered up by an entrance hallway that kind of leads to that back area, but you can tell that there's shelving and whatnot inside of that location where there's plenty of area for storage and whatnot. And she seems to just be kind of sitting down at a table with a few other folk before she hears the swing of the front door and kind of steps forward and takes a moment to look over you all and, well, welcome to Phandalin. Surprised that I've not seen you here before? Uh, for her. Seems unfamiliar to me. But what can I do for you, Burke? All right. I definitely have a wagon for sale. We can make that happen. What kind of diamond are you looking for? Let me have you roll a D100. I definitely have some diamonds available. I'm not as sure about spell purposes, but what more might you be looking for? What can you tell me about this diamond? Do you... So, in particular, Revivify does not require a diamond. You need 300 gold worth of diamond to burn on it. I can certainly sell you more smaller diamonds. Don't have any too sizables right now, so that will work out perfectly fine. She kind of like moseys off to the back, and while she's in like the back area, you can hear like things kind of shifting and moving, and she's just. What is this you say about a dragon's horde? Oh, the busybody. Ah, yes. The ones who made sure Sildar gain a foothold. That reminds me plenty well. Certainly doesn't help things. And she'll kind of come forward and sets down like a handful of gems on the counter. And as she kind of pulls her hand away, there's a bunch of like yellow diamonds. There's a few white diamonds. All of them are pretty nice. Most of them are smaller, and some of them have like occlusions in them and things. Like none of them are especially beautiful diamonds for like wearing as jewelry. But she kind of like looks you over, and we can part with these for 350 gold. Yep. Yep. I'm sure you think it was cutting down on my business, but then of course you don't quite know my business. But I will offer you this if you'd like to pay me full price. For another 50 gold, I can certainly tell you things that are most valuable for you to learn. So, 400 gold, and I'll give you the information that you would need. Well then, perhaps some things are best said in private. If you all would follow me to the back here, we have a little bit of a talk to go over. And she'll just kind of like lift up like the central part of the counter and present basically a little walkway that leads to that little back hallway. And she'll just walk away, leaving the diamonds on the countertop. So yeah, again, that's just 300 gold worth of diamonds. That's one cast worth of Revivify. But eventually she will sit down. She'll have her other companions kind of get up and leave that general area. They all kind of like mosey towards the front, a lot of them sitting in front of the counter where there's kind of like a waiting area around like some of the weights and measures. And as everybody kind of gets comfortable, she like cleans up the pack of cards that are just sitting there, and she kind of just sits over the next few moments, just shuffling the cards. I remember you all a little bit better than perhaps I might have led on, but it's something that you will most be intrigued by for how much you seem to have enjoyed this place. I believe you in particular, as she looks over at Burke, had a relation here in town. think you might find that she's gone missing. There's some active folk here that seem to have been quite interested in her presence. Well, you might find that one of your other friends has employed a young redhead who seems to be worshipping a storm lord of sorts. And I believe you may find one of her valued items inside of your friend's shrine. You'll just have to look well enough to find it and connect those dots. But while your friend feels like she made a good choice and has a good employee working for her, she's brought the danger inside of town. As long as she's here, they step on my trade a little bit, but it helps to have a little bit of gold coming from you as recompense for such things. So don't forget to see how your friend over at the Coster is faring. You may find that quite interesting. Well, you paid handsomely enough. You're welcome to leave, but I also could share more information that you might find valuable. It seems in the power vacuum that you all created, the shady folk have come forward, and the Lord's Alliance misses such things. Thieves and the dead and whatnot. There's a fellow who's living in a house to the west of here. It's in near complete ruins. You may find it difficult to locate where they are, and perhaps the best clue I can share for you there is they're sleeping in graves. But you'll find the night will be your best time for finding this little skill of a man. But I think that should point you in the right directions. Should be a sufficient 50 gold's worth of knowledge. You'll have to find that for yourself. But please, don't hesitate to check in with everybody else. He's around. He keeps an eye on everything. I think his employee is quite interested in the dead and those who have fallen. She basically gave you the information that she's working for Linian over at the Lion Shield Coster. So effectively what she gave you is that there is a thief who's working at the Coster, probably somebody who is worshipping Talos, and that they have, you might find more information at the shrine, where Gariel is missing. And that there is the person who's essentially like sleeping in graves off on the west side of town. Let me have you roll intelligence checks. Not that it's entirely necessary, but can you get an intelligence up there, Bruno? Bam. So kind of working over like what you would have heard from her, the three of you would be able to piece together that you're pretty sure when she said a skeel of a man, his name is Skeel. But those are otherwise the clues that you guys paid for from Halia. There would have been a certain amount of money that was a portion of buying the wagon, so you guys can consider also that you've purchased the wagon for the trip back to Leyland as well. No, that's what I mean. Like, you effectively have like a fund for purchasing the other shit. Just so I don't have to calculate all of that because it's just kind of a generic. You guys have to buy all of the shit, and that's the reason you're gonna find out about all of that. In particular, going to Halia and paying her was the right choice because she knows everything that goes on in town. Yeah, I think she was only ever nice to Justin. So yeah, you all are basically just crossing that next little bit of the road there, heading off to the north. The main entrance to the Coster is on that southeast side. You can enter on in. There's a big like entrance area with a lot of different weapons and equipment set up. And then I think you know that there's basically like a back room. It's kind of like a living quarters, and then off to the right, there's like the kitchen area. But you do very quickly spot Linien, who's running around taking care of things. A few people are like in the actual shop, and you hear somebody kind of in the smithy off to the back of the shop, and you see a few Lord's Alliance guys who are kind of like sitting off on the left side in kind of like a lounge area. But you very quickly recognize Linien. She is a younger, like late 30s. No, I feel like she was like mid 30s. Like blonde hair woman, about 5 or so foot tall. And she just seems to be kind of handling things. Very quickly looks up to greet you all, and in the process of greeting, hello, what? Ooh, hello. It's pleasure to see you again, Bert. Welcome back. We don't need any bad memories here. It's a pleasure to have everything sorted out where there's no longer any danger in town. Oh, everything's been quite well. The Coster was quite pleased with everything that I've been able to accomplish, and very recently I brought in some new help, and I've got Valim off in the back working at the forge. And she kind of like points through like the central back portion, off towards the forge, kind of where you guys would hear the banging come from. Like it's outside, like in a different building. So at present now. Valim, she should be finishing up pretty soon here. Will, and like you see, is like some of the actual like Lord's Alliance soldiers kind of look off to her. She should be finishing off pretty shortly here, and she should have your sword a little bit repaired there, and she'll just be back up. she like feigns like an exasperated like surprise when you say ogres. Can tell that there's some level of she likes the idea of pretending that there's nothing wild about where Phandalin is, and she's happy with the idea that you guys kind of cleaned everything up. It's a little surprising to hear of ogres, though. But it's not too long that you all are waiting back there before you see like about like a mid-20s, late-20s redhead walk in, about the same height as the Nian, like mid-5 foot. And she kind of like walks in and she's got a long sword with her, presents it to one of the soldiers, and then she has like a slung buckler that she like kind of gives to the other soldier and explains like where she like fixed the like leather rivets to like set that up on their arm. But otherwise, you do see the new redhead employee, Veline. It's a pleasure to be able to help, most certainly. I've spent quite some time down in Waterdeep and was able to do a lot there. But most recently I've been out near Tribor. Most certainly, what do you expect you'll need fixed? She, like, second guess looks at you. Bat? Shit? Oh, no. If it's not made of metal, I probably don't have it. I don't have any horses for sale. What have as reserved for Leyland, I have a few waiting for the town's purposes. Oh, okay. Yes, yes, I was contacted by Sharwin some time ago, and she did, indeed prepare. The coster has sent a few down. Um, we just have them, stabled in the back. Whenever you are prepared, we can set you up with no problem. Uh, why, we can... Yes. We'll come to the Stonehill Inn tonight and drink. Uh, oh, okay. And she like looks off at like Veline for a moment, and she's like just, um, yeah, I think we have work to do, but Stonehill Inn tonight, drinking. Excellent. Excellent. Yes. Drinking and then morning. Yep. Okay. Uh, yeah, I don't believe that she's gone anywhere else. I think you can certainly find her at the shrine. But what would you like to surprise her with? We've got a flask made of silver. Uh, I can do it for the cost of the silver involved, and we can do it for you for um, probably about 14 silver. Wasn't much, and can, excellent. Um, for Gario, do you want? Would you like? Yeah, I can definitely have that done. So she'll just kind of head to the back, and it's about like another like 10 or so minutes before she comes back out front, but she'll have it engraved with Gario's name. Well, um, pleasure to see you again, and we'll be coming out for drinks later at the Stonehill Inn. Linian like looks over at Bruno like, just shopping with your eyes, or? So she's got pretty much like the PHB, like weapon choices. So what in particular are you looking for? You can most certainly pick up any number of javelins. Snake Plissken. Right up the keister. Oh, that's like the best line ever. I can hear you digging around in there. Um, you can do 45 silver pieces for the 10 javelins. And as you like stumble on your way out, she's kind of like looking at you a little bit odd, and she's like, "Do you want a quiver to hold those in?" And she's got a fine leather quiver for what is that? 9 more silver pieces. So if you do, what is that? 5 gold, 4 silver. You can take 10 javelins and a quiver. Poor Helk. 3 characters in. Only one's died, though. Actually, Edrin's probably walking around here somewhere. So yeah, you all can head on over to the shrine. Very quickly, as you head in, you see that this place has been ransacked. And there is nobody of note in this place. It is very much empty. Yeah, inside Holy of Holies, it as well is ransacked. There seems to be nothing was treated as sacred. Everything seems to be just in shambles. Let me have a group investigation, I feel like. Really missing that Justin. Yeah, looking around. Looking around, you all see this place is destroyed. There's a lot of shit just scattered about. And even though you're relatively sure from the word of Halia, you can't actually find anything that seems really out of place, or that it wasn't actually a product of Garios. But otherwise, you all don't really find anything of note searching through. You could do a religion check. From what you can tell, this seems to be the type of thing where perhaps it got out and the secret was kind of blown, and perhaps others started to find out that she was a member of the Harpers, and perhaps it has bit her in the butt. You guys can spend the next 2 hours if you would like to do another investigation check. So let me get another group investigation. What's that? Oh yeah, you can roll another d20. I think that's enough that after some time in the shrine, Helka notices that there is a like a oh, this is true. So you definitely don't notice this. Well done. Yeah, so another few hours go by and you all still do not pick up anything in particular that tells you what has happened to the shrine or what has happened to Gario. You all are probably looking at about 2 to 3 in the afternoon probably like a few like palms off from high sun. So what do you have in mind to speak to Darren about? He seems surprised at the idea that Gariel or the shrine has been assaulted. I must apologize. I do isolate myself from the town quite often. With the new folk, I haven't exactly made a change to that. I've not really spoken with Gariel in, I think, maybe a 10-day since we last spoke. It was around when we last returned to town, I think around when you all left. I can perhaps reach out to some contacts in Neverwinter. But as far as I can say, I'll have to count on her own abilities to keep herself safe. There's little that I know that we can accomplish for her in a case like this. Oh, that would be quite wonderful. Uh, how many do you think you'd like to bring? Let me go over to talk with Toblin and make sure he'll be okay with me selling them to you instead of he making his own profit off of it. Or perhaps I can cover such things myself. How many were you thinking? I'll bring over 5 and I'll see how Toblin feels, but I think I can call it an early day at this point, and perhaps I'll just see you once you arrive there. But in general, he's not going to be much help on that idea. Gedrio. As far as everything works with her, he's too isolated, and even with their past, he doesn't necessarily have information. So at this point, you all can head over to Sildar, find him in the Townmaster's Hall. He has like a retinue of people who are kind of paper pushers kind of all around him. You can tell he's already exhausted with like handling a town. And there's certainly a level very quickly where you pick up that this guy doesn't want to be a town master and is kind of over it. You've probably left him not even a month ago, and you can tell this. But he will greet you all, welcome you in, and if you have any questions in particular, he can certainly try to answer them. Things are certainly not what I had hoped for. I'll have to serve my master for what I've been asked, but retirement is certainly a better choice than this. And what, pray tell, do you need solving? At the very mention of that, he kind of like brings over a guard, and you see as he just kind of like does the finger motion, one of the guards walks up to him. And he just says, Beatrix, grab Pike and Jaeger and head over to the shrine. Would appear that Gariel is missing? And he kind of like looks up to you as that one soldier kind of walks away. Very quickly, two more will step out of the front, and they kind of disappear for a moment. But he kind of looks to you and kind of returns to the conversation, returning his attention to you. We don't necessarily keep a close watch on the shrine itself. In general, things have seemed pretty calm with the red brands handled. As far as everything goes, most people enjoy their space, and we keep to our own. But we still do serve what we can. As far as most any of us can tell, there's been plenty of new folk. There's been the occasional person who's gone missing, but many people come and go. We are certainly still a prospector's last stop before the mountains. There have been rumors, though, that 3 people who have been killed were killed by lightning strikes. But other than superficial burns, it's hard to really know how somebody's died. It's definitely not what one would expect, but storms have been picking up of late, and it's... I haven't been here long enough to know how the weather is. It's the middle of summer. I feel like it's to be expected that there's lightning storms as the night comes in and the cold air comes off the ocean. There's been some rumors that that's what's been happening, but rumors and paranoia has always run quickly with soldiers. To say that anybody in particular is interested in Phandalin seems like a bit of a stretch. Most of my soldiers are pretty fresh into town. We've probably got about a third of our recruits are from Neverwinter. I think I have about 15. I think I have about 15 from Tribor. And I think the rest, about 35 or so, have come up from Waterdeep. Other than the Lord's Alliance here in town, we've seen an influx of prospectors. Linien got a new hire from the Coster, Veline. And kind of takes another few moments thinking. And he kind of like snaps his fingers as he like looks back at one of his like stewards, and it's just Rothine. Who's that fellow who returns comes by at night? Okay, yes. We seem to have a gentleman Argus who I feel like he's just prospecting during the days, and he seems to come about town at night. I feel like we've gathered he camps somewhere off to the west of town. Perhaps off by the river? I'm not entirely sure. But there's probably a solid group of people who are just flowing through town. See many of them obviously staying with Stonehill. But in general, most people seem to just be going about their days. Well, we had Gariel perform the rites for them. I don't think it would be right to exhume any of their bodies. Um, I think the most recent was probably just about 6 days ago now. He kind of calls back Rothine again, and he like asks for a particular book and brings it back by. 7 days on the 23rd. He kind of like looks up with a little bit of kind of shock, having kind of like looked at it, and the three were all found a day apart. So it's like 6 days. One person died, day off. One person died, day off. One person died. So I guess specifically that's 5 days. There's like a day between all three of them happening in the same like grouping. Like once it happened, so like 12 days ago, 10 days ago. No, that's still wrong. 11 days ago, 9 days ago, 7 days ago. They've all been newcomers to town. They've weren't anybody who's been here for quite some time. I think the one who had been here the longest, Edmund, has been in town for maybe 10 days before he was struck down. Everybody seemed to be travelers of sorts, prospectors. Most people keep to themselves where they think they've got to find. It's a pretty tough job being in that gold trade. People are pretty closed-mouthed about it. Kind of like nods a little bit, like kind of referencing towards the, like looks over towards the dwarf with you. And he's like, you probably know pretty well with the rock seekers. They did the same shady business. No insults meant. It's just people think they've got a spot. They don't want to share it. So when people come in for goods, they come in secret-like. Just know Gundren was kind of about the same way. You would have noticed the job board was absolutely cleaned out. There was nothing left on it. We didn't really know that we had any problems to levy anyone to pay for them. But no. We have just been thinking they've gone up into the mountains and they're doing their thing. And that keeps money flowing through town. Nobody panics. There's no reason to panic. Yeah, people dying is a natural part of life. Can't stop that. There's no reason to panic. Everything's gonna be alright. Make a persuasion. I would definitely. I would enjoy a drink, but I think the weight. I think it's more important that I stick to my duties and make sure people understand the town is fine. Living in Phandalin is a safe place. Clearly. Definitely. Everything is fine. People die for normal reasons. There's it's like kind of like twitchy for a moment. Like there's no reason to make sure that people know when normal things happen. It's because they're normal. They happen. It shouldn't be a surprise. You can roll an insight. Seems pretty forthcoming. Seems pretty stressed out as far as like running the town goes. But other than that, he seems like he's pretty much told you everything that you could possibly know, everything that they've cleaned up about these different deaths and whatnot. We had one in one of the new boarding houses off north side of town. There was another who was close by, off near Barthen's, just outside of town. And then the other was coming in around the south side. He was coming in off of one of the hills, right near, and he just kind of like points to the south, but he's basically pointing to one person was found down south, one person was found at the boarding house, and another person was found north of Barthen's, entering town. Wait, the bodies? No, like one person was outside of town, like basically coming into town from that hill. One person was outside of the boarding house on like the northwestern side of town, almost between Barthen's and the Edermath Orchard. And then one person was outside of town coming in from the north. So like there are 3 different arrows right now. All new folk to town. As far as they could tell, though, none of them knew each other. But you all are welcome to go about your days. This is not a mystery. You guys already know it's the Cult of Talos. Like, I don't mean to stop you from role-playing what you want to role-play, but you guys paid Halia, and you know that the Cult of Talos is active in this town. You know that they are worshippers of the Storm Lord. 3 lightning strikes is very particularly the actual symbol of the Cult of Talos, let alone the fact that 3 people have been killed by lightning. None of that should surprise you all that it is still pointing towards the Cult of Talos. And at very least, you know on some level that Valim, or at least on Halia's word, Valim is a member of that cult. Besides that, all of you have experience from within Leyland that the cult is active along the Sword Coast. This in particular might be surprising because they're active so far inland, but he brought up that there has been an increased ratio of storms. As far as, like, again, the insight was kind of a fail, but you guys definitely understand he's got like a like the police chief of like New England in the Jaws movie, where he's like, everything is fine, we just need to keep people swimming in the ocean so we can make money as people are getting bitten in half by a shark. He is trying to make as many excuses as possible about why none of this is out of the ordinary, when clearly you guys can see that this is cult activity. Yes. I just love the idea that this guy who's a famous warrior has no ability to run a town. But yeah, so you guys can kind of continue about things, but I don't know if you picked up on part of what I was saying there, Burke, is the 3 lightning strikes are the symbol of the Cult of Talos. Their emblem is quite literally 3 lightning bolts. So 3 people being killed there is like a consecration of this whole town almost, as like a town of Talos kind of thing. The first encounter that the group had with them was in the Wayside Inn, which is between Leylan and Phandalin, off on the High Road, or the King's Road, right between the Tribor and the King's Road. The Wayside Inn was the first place. Heading into Leylan was the second time they encountered them, and that was, at least at that point, like a well-captured point for the cult, and they certainly disrupted that. This would be kind of the third instance of like really spotting them, but like the actual rumors and things that would be happening is that they are kind of building strength along the whole of the Sword Coast, between like Leylan and Neverwinter. Let me get a group intelligence from you. Talia mentioned she is a master thief. No, like my point of saying that is you all know that Valim is like a master thief. So it's the type of thing, if you guys are trying to trick her into something, you are probably barking up the wrong tree, because this is somebody who their entire life is literally living on the opposite side of the law, like being in the shit and not getting caught for it kind of thing. Yeah, that's kind of my point. So in general, what do you guys have in mind as to what you would like to do from this point on? Do you want to take some time and jump into this party? Do you want to kind of fast forward past the party? What are you thinking here? Gotcha. So yeah, let me have. So let me have you all do group investigations here. So you spot a destroyed house that you guys are pretty confident must be the one that Haoya is describing for you. You try to go inside and try to find where you might be able to manage your way underground. A good bit of time is going to pass by, and things just don't seem to be working out. You feel like this has got to be it, but perhaps you just misunderstood the actual clue that Howie was giving. Something just seems off about what you were looking for. I mean, in particular, it doesn't matter, but sure. No, part of what I'm saying, though, is, like, the house that you guys find, you, like, look through it, and you're pretty confident, like, that you fucked up and have chosen the wrong place. What are you looking to accomplish at the shrine? All right, you guys can do another round of investigations in the shrine. End up basically being another few hours. And yeah, I think that'll take you to nightfall. So a good way through searching through the shrine, after a little bit more conversation about the 3 lightning strikes, Tiff is able to find a point where the actual shrine to Tamora has been desecrated with 3 very roughly carved symbols of lightning strikes into the actual statue itself. And it's basically like on the back of the neck, like high in the entrance area, so it's almost like 8 feet off of the ground, where you just kind of never looked before. But basically, they've desecrated the actual shrine of Tamora with the symbol of Talos. I think that's actually the same spell I asked you about earlier, with burying Ezra. I think that is what. Fuck, I can't think of the name of it now. Damn it. There's a particular spell that's like marry somebody, coming of age, desecrate or make holy. But no, I do not think you have the ability to right now. I don't know why I can't think of it offhand. Yeah, I'm gonna say for you guys at that point, you're pretty confident that Talia gave you a little bit of miscommunication, or perhaps what she found when she went through is no longer there, because you guys have now spent 5+ hours searching through the shrine. That in general was like on the first go, if you guys found it, the information I gave you is for searching over and over to confirm it. But yeah, you're not going to find anything there as far as that goes. So entering into the Stonehill Inn, word has started to get around that you all are back in town. You see a pretty filled inn upon entering. In general, there's a lot of familiar faces, a lot of new faces. You can quite quickly see that a lot of people are excited to see you, and a lot of people are excited for the idea that there's going to be a town party here. But in general, you very quickly see Toblin as well as Trelena, and their youngling Pip all kind of come forward, bringing Trelena and Pip out of the back of the house as you all arrive inside the town. They've got a few kegs of the mead kind of set up on the actual bar, preparing and flowing. You very quickly, Bruno, would recognize that they have a few kegs of ale, one of which is also set up on the bar and tapped, that has the Rockseeker emblem on it. And you can see that there is dwarvish ale being served here as well. And then one other ale that is a Tribor being served, again, kind of all set up like on the bar. They're already kind of free flowing for everybody. But depending on what you would like to do, Toblin and the family seem to be excited to see you all. And you guys can start your drinking and festivities. Yeah, I mean, you can like pull him aside and like enjoy a little bit of an ale and have a little bit more of a talk with him. In general, he doesn't really have a whole lot to share other than like from his perspective, all of the people who are coming back into this town has made his business vastly successful. He was getting by when you all first came into town. Um, Certainly doing better than when he was prospecting. But as far as like things go for him, like he's been busy because they have shit to do. Um, and that's like the big change for him. He almost, the way you can like perceive it from his conversation is he's running around with like blinders on because he's busy like running the business. So to him, like hearing about people who die by lightning strikes, it doesn't even register. It's just, yeah, we're in a shitty area. Sometimes people die. The Yeah, she was the new hire working with Linian. Roll a perception check. Looking around as you kind of glance over, you see Lin Yen like awkwardly like sitting in a corner, and she seems to just be sipping at an ale, but she seems to be alone. So, I mean, if that's kind of just where you're getting at there, she's going to quickly be able to respond to you. That it seems like Valine has been feeling ill, and she didn't really feel like going out tonight. So she's still back at the Coster, just taking it easy this evening. Basically, like, the short of it is that Valine said she was feeling ill and did not feel like going out. So she is back at the Coster, just taking it easy, trying to feel better. That certainly feels good to hear, but it doesn't seem all that similar. There's so many new faces. I'm much happier back in a comfortable place. I've heard some of the soldiers say different things, but everything seems to just kind of be normal. We're living in the frontier, and things happen. It's the stormy season. Business has been good, even if some people disappear and people get struck by lightning. They can't deny that there's quite a few people here. I think I heard there's 3 new houses built just this last 10 day. I think most everybody is prospectors here. It's all about bringing gold out of the mountain. That would be information perhaps Halia might know, but in general, I don't really know. There's not really people who are spending a bunch of gold buying weapons. Most of what I do is supplying the Lord's Alliance. Their increased activity here helps. And then very basic tools and goods for people who are heading into the mountains. That's wonderful. And she gets like even more uptight. I have no interest in role-playing a relationship with any of you. What do you got, 60 feet? And it's good or evil? Burke, what are you? It's one of the few times, yeah, that you need to have a, okay. Yeah, you don't really have any sort of feeling in this place at all. How often can you divine sense? How long does it last for? End of your next turn, so it's 6 seconds. I just like the idea that you guys are like sent to look for an undead person, and you didn't actually think to divine sense when you thought you were there. Yes. Like, I've never played a paladin. I am terrible at keeping paladin abilities in mind, but that's definitely the type of thing. If you think you are digging up the graves of the undead, that is the type of thing that you want to proc when you are doing that. Oh, it's not even good or evil either. It's the celestial fiend or undead too, right? Because you smell Yeah. But no, for what it's worth, inside of the tavern right now, you confirm most of the people in this town seem to be just perfectly normal people. And that kind of fits in line with most of what you guys have been finding out from many of the people here in town. I think a big question that I have for you all is, does anybody have any interest at all in telling Linian that you have suspicions about Valine? Still a pretty similar situation. You all have already saved her life and she saved yours. So you have clout with this woman. And who did you hear this information from? Name's been nothing but helpful for me. I don't see any reason why I should doubt her. People get ill. Doesn't seem to be anything in particular that seems strange. Let me get a perception check at disadvantage from you all. Tiff, you hear a crack of lightning, or a crack of thunder outside. It seems that the night has gone stormy. Uh, yeah, so when are you going invisible? Make a perception for me. You feel this is a solid place for you to go. You feel like there's nobody like walking in this general direction or looking in this area right now. As you all step outside, Darren is going to kind of step out after you all, and he'll kind of like look over and heading out so early, are you? And he'll kind of look up to the sky. He sees the storm overhead, and oh, another of the storms. Be careful out here. So what do you all have in mind? What would you like to do? Heading over to the Coster? I mean, the lightning and thunder is all around. It's just overhead. It seems like a storm. So Burke at least is pretty aware of the 4 different entrances to the Coster itself. You know that basically that like northwestern side is like the living quarters, and that there was like a quarter to like kind of like almost like one and another. So you basically have those 2 spots that you assume one is Linien's and probably the other is Valine's. But you all are welcome to either go to that entrance, you know of that entrance, the main entrance, and then... Wait, no, not that one. and that. So there's like 4 different entrances, 2 fronts and 2 backs. Roll a perception. Moving up to it, it seems like there's a light in the back rooms. But as you kind of glance across, it also seems like perhaps there's just like a hearth burning inside. It's hard to tell, but if you kind of like scout out the place ahead of time, it does seem like there's somebody in the living area. Do a stealth for me, and then a perception. Taking a moment to peer inside, you see like lit candles that seem to be set up for, like keeping someone active across the night, but it doesn't appear to be anybody inside right now. I mean, you can check both of them, and effectively, like, both rooms seem to be in pretty similar states. They both seemed like bedrooms. My memory of the Coster was not nearly as good as actually looking at the picture again. So that's just throwing it back up again. I guess for what it's worth, you would have... Yeah, I really felt like it had 2 bedrooms. I don't know why it has 4 toilets, so I'm going to go ahead and say we're going to call that a bedroom and that a bedroom, and those are what you were able to check out there. And it seems like both of them have like lit candles in them, but otherwise they don't appear to be occupied at present. Moving in, you don't hear any sort of response. The door was not locked, though. You can walk inside. What door would you go to? Yeah, so you can walk in that main hallway there. It's pretty dark in all the rest of the actual Coster, so you can see like up forward towards the main entrance area. I think that's a solid wall on your west side. And you have the initial door right inside. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think that hallway has the 2 doors. One into what we're calling the small bedroom, and the other one into the actual Coster off on the other end is almost like an old Western style like swing door. So you can see that it is dark up front. Yeah, so roll a performance. And is otherwise everybody following behind? You feel like you are like Shakespearean level actor, and nobody would believe that. But yeah, you feel like you're walking in there concerned. But overall, you all are going to pretty quickly recognize that this building doesn't have anybody in it. So you're gonna search through the room, do an investigation for me, Tiff? Yeah, that fucking crown is absurd, always. Yeah, you very quickly find inside of some of the things like a little jewelry box, and inside of this little jewelry box is a silver brooch that is 3 lightning bolts. So where else are you all checking here? What are you thinking now? You can do another investigation. That's gonna be a pretty high DC. It could be investigation, survival, or yeah, I feel like those are gonna be the two. And you guys can do a group here. Ooh, I don't even know if a 23 is high enough though. I feel like what are you guys looking for here? You expect to find a path that you have a path to follow someone? I think what you're really going to find is that there isn't any signs of somebody being dragged away or taken against their will. There's plenty of footprints in this area of people coming and going. A lot of them are between this back area and the forge, which is in the building directly behind the coster. Some of them move off to the south, basically like going west and then turning south. Some of them go east and seem to lead off to the north. But the big thing I think that you can take away from it is that she's probably not been captured and taken against her will. There's not signs of like somebody being dragged across the ground or anything. But yeah, like I don't think you're following somebody in particular's trail with that DC that I had in mind. You can wait for one of the next lightning strikes and try to see, and there doesn't appear to be anybody on the roof. If you wanted to go for the best possible site, you're looking like you might have a view from on the peak of the actual town green, and to try to take a look over from there. But in general, like just like waiting for a lightning strike, no, somebody's not waiting on the roof for you. So let me have Bruno roll a D100 for me. And we're gonna assume that you proc both of your remaining senses. So first time you go, you gain a slight sense of undead in this area, but it doesn't even seem to be strong enough to be a creature. But you're in the right area. perhaps you've found where they rest, and because night has already fallen, you've missed them. But yeah, I feel like it's more at this point that you're going to gain a sense that, like, this is the type of shit where, like, maybe there's, like, a hand of an undead creature here. 90 is good, but I don't think it's good enough to, like, find the creature after dark. But I think with that, you guys can confirm that it's basically a ruined house that's, like, underneath these trees, that those trees have grown up on it, and they seem to be coming out from the dirt in that area. So, like, if you went back to that same house, that you could pick up that it's, like, from the south of you there. So with the idea that you have found likely where they sleep, but they are not here, do you guys want to continue to look for them on this west side of town? Or would you like to go about something? I feel like at this point, we'll probably leave off with you all investigating at night, and kind of pick up from here this next weekend. Yeah, I don't mean to, like, rob you of it, but I feel like finding the undead was if you search during the daytime, when they were particularly not at night. And you can confirm that Valim is kind of in that same status of, she's a thief. She's probably out doing evil shit right now.